All right, I'm recording there, which I'll clip that obviously for the video. And I'm recording here. Hey everybody, I'm Katie Arroyo.
And I'm Laura Manasowich.
And this is Pinky Promise. A podcast about growing up.
Yeah.
So we have a very special guest this week. We would like to welcome actor and director Megan Duffy. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Welcome,
nice
Megan.
to meet you guys.
You
Likewise.
And we're just basically going to be talking about first jobs because Megan has like 3 hours worth of cool stories from her first job, which sounds like your first job is like, I felt like I was reading Steve Martin's book again, where he was like, and then I got the job in the entertainment area of an amusement park. Laura, did you have like a cool first job, or was your first job?
My first job was a pizza restaurant, and
Okay.
I worked there for like 5 years, and I thought it was super cool for probably 3.5 years. And then I was like, it's a restaurant.
My first job was at Eckerd's drugstore, and it was very uncool. And I just like standing at the cashier, like at the cash register, just waiting. Like time has never moved slower. And the only bright spot in my day was like getting to go on a lunch break and walk to the Dairy Queen where my best friend Megan was working.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
But to be honest, when I was about 6, my dream job was to make pizzas in a pizza place. So 6-year-old me is like, whoa, she lived my dream.
I mean, I did a lot of things there, but making the pizzas was one of the few jobs I didn't do. But if it was in the front of the house.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah, I didn't live your dream can still be lived. I didn't take it.
They didn't let you make like one pizza?
I don't think I wanted to be near the brick oven.
I was gonna say, was the oven like a lot?
I think I don't trust myself near that much fire. I probably got to like screw around a little bit, but I think I was more interested in flirting and cutting pizzas.
So they had they had the brick oven, not like some wow. Yeah, when I was like 6 or 7, I had a birthday party at Papa Gino's, which is like a chain. I don't know if everybody in the know what that is, but like a chain fast food. But it was definitely like way better than Domino's or Pizza Hut, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like a fancy chain.
And I got to have a birthday party there, and one of the things was I got to help make my own pizza and put it in the oven. A little personal size pepperoni pizza, and I was like, "This is it. This is what I'm gonna do."
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I found it.
Yeah. You're like, I found my spark.
Yeah. We've all been watching Soul. We're all very
exactly.
I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's amazing. I'm like I'm saving it. I just kind of started my period, so I'm like, I'm already upset. I want to save it for a day when I'm feeling a little more emotionally balanced, because I hear I'm gonna cry.
You will.
It's the only Pixar film I did not completely have a meltdown on, and I think it was just like I was having a good day. Like I feel like if I watched it in a different week or moment, it would have been a different outcome. But I kept it together.
I'm still pretty upset about Up.
Yeah,
I'll be upset about Up for the rest of my life. At one point I was like, well, I prepared myself for a Pixar day. I have all these tears ready and they didn't fall out, so maybe I'll just throw Up on to like cleanse, to get them out.
For a while I had a Disneyland like season pass, and there's like one of the animation buildings or something where you go in and then they have like a big screen and they're showing, and I walked in and they were showing Up and the montage was on. And I like went, and I like went running, and my friends were like, "What do you do? Where'd you go?" And they were texting me, and I just was like, I like found a dark corner, and I was just like, and then when they found me, I was like, "It's the scene from Up," and they're like, "Oh, we didn't even notice." I'm like, "How do you not notice?"
I didn't notice. I think that's cruel. I think you have to notice. It's the law. So Katie, you were a drugstore checkout girl, is that right?
Yes.
So
we did
you
that.
got actually that was my like child goal was I wanted control of the scanny beep beeps.
Oh,
You know,
so
I
it's
wanted
like
that power.
it's not as cool. It's a lot of weight shifting on your feet.
Yeah, I get that.
But I was really good with the numbers.
That's been a big deal on Twitter lately. Is like over or not in the U.S. Like grocery store clerks have stools and because it's like understood that the body has limits, you know. Whereas
Yeah.
here we're like, no, stand for 10 hours.
Yeah,
So
which I
other
don't know
countries were
why.
like,
Or
hey,
here's
let
some
your
really
cashier sit
expensive
down.
insoles.
Yeah, right.
to
Yeah.
kind of make it a little better for a second, possibly.
It's 3 paychecks worth, but it's totally worth it.
Fine, it's fine. Yeah.
So Megan, you have like the coolest first job. What was your first job?
So I guess I mentioned earlier, my kind of first job was like I spent 2 months when I was 15, so I wasn't old enough to actually be doing this yet. But I worked in an ice cream parlor because they were short staffed,
Yeah.
and you know, it was really basic. You know, you just like I got pretty good at the soft serve machine. You know, making the cone not like flop over.
Yes.
But my real like first job was I got the very prestigious gig working in the entertainment department, singing and dancing in a show at an amusement park, which at the time was called Riverside. It's now Six Flags New England.
Yes, I grew up going to that amusement park.
So I was in there was a giant, remember that they had this huge dome building and it was supposed to be the International Plaza, but everybody just called it the Dome. But it was like they had there was like a pizza and like fried dough and then like burgers and like maybe one other weird food and this is international, and they had flags hanging. So there was a big stage there, and every year there would be a show, a singing and dancing show. I think it was the same show every year.
Sure.
It didn't really change. But I got the gig at 16 years old.
That's like
major.
I don't even know how you would know to like go for that job. Like, did they post auditions for entertainer and you just knew that's what you wanted to do? Or
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did competitive dance, and I had done a handful of like, you know, I guess semi-professional and professional shows and competitions. So the dancers all knew each other, and when, you know, an older dancer would get that gig, it was like, whoa, they're famous. They got like the summer job, and it paid pretty decently. I think the pay was something like $500 a week.
Oh, that's like really
not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, except I didn't really know about taxes, so like I did like zero exemptions. So then like I think I would see like $250 like of my paycheck or something, and then I was living with my parents, so at tax time they claimed me as a dependent. So they just got the credit from what, but I didn't know how any of that stuff worked. But
yeah,
still, you're living at home. I had a car that my parents got for me for the job. And, you know, I didn't really have expenses because I don't have rent, and my mom buys the groceries. And
you're like living large at 16.
Yeah, I did buy some dresses.
Yeah, as well you should have.
And like some CDs. Like I got really into trying to find like rare bootleg CDs. And I'm like, oh, that Madonna girly show bootleg, I can find, that's $40. I can finally afford it.
Yeah.
So how many shows, like how many shows a week did you have to do?
6 shows a day, 6 days a week.
Holy
my
crap.
God. Yeah.
So you earned like that money.
Yeah, I think we'd get in around 11 and we would finish around 8, and then it was like I once every 90 minutes or something like that.
Oh my God.
How it worked out. Yeah. And then if it rained and the park was at limited capacity, they would often let us go home early.
Wow. So if you wanted to like take a day off, is that something that could happen, or did it like screw up the performance?
So we had understudies, so like we would all get 1 day a week off, and so on that one day it's like the swing would come in, and then the swing was also there, but they were usually like doing another task, like they would be one of the costume characters.
Okay.
So I had a version of me, and you know, if you got sick or something like that, they would bring in your swing.
Yeah. Wow. That's like real showbiz work, especially if you're 16.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. It was my first, because up until that time, it's like, you do lots of rehearsals to like do the one performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
With competitions, we wouldn't be doing them that often. So this was the first time where I was like, oh shit, this gets really boring. And how hard it would be. And then kind of fighting against that feeling of ungratefulness that you get when you're at like, we started in May, I think. So especially when it got to like July, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I have to do this again. And it's like, and it's really like learning like, oh, you're actually so fortunate. You have to get over yourself and figure out a way to find this exciting, even though it's not. And even though like some teenager has thrown fried dough at you and the stage is all slippery and they only washed our costumes really once a week and one of them was covered in sequins. So it just kind of got sprayed with vodka, I think. And it always had a weird smell and your shoes start to kind of give way. So like you just have to still make it fresh and exciting because there might be like 3 kids out there and maybe one of them's a little girl dancing along and you're like, it's for her. That's why I'm doing this for her. And also so that mom and dad can enjoy their beer right now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really for mom and dad.
Well, yeah. And the little girl who's dancing doesn't know that this is your 5th show of 6 for the day of however 50 for the week or whatever. You know what I mean? So to her, you're doing this once a day. This is the big show.
Yeah.
That's just so crazy. So like in my mind, I was picturing like maybe you did it like 3 days a week or something, but you were like straight up just had a run. Like you had like a Broadway run.
Yeah.
but at Riverside.
Yeah. But at Riverside.
Slightly off Broadway.
Yeah. Were your castmates like, what's the age range? What's the makeup of like who you were singing and dancing with?
I think there were 2 of us that were 16. And then I think the older side, I think someone was 20 someone was 21.
Okay.
Because we were able to get booze.
Right. You always know if someone's 21.
Or at least maybe someone in the department was. I know my dance partner was like 23.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
He'd actually like worked for Disney and Busch Gardens. So he was like super experienced. And I was thankful because we did a lift where he would spin me up in the air.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was like a real show.
thing.
It was a review of music from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So we would start with This Joint Is Jumpin', and we would end with we did Sing, Sing, Sing in the middle. Da, da, that was the big dance number. And then we would end with from Greece, We Go Together. Like
oh, yeah.
I'm going to disclose. So it was a singing and dancing show. I actually never sang live. Me and my dance partner were the dance couple, and we actually sang along to someone else's pre-recorded voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then everybody else in the cast had to sing and dance live. And
Oh my God.
that did cause some tension.
Oh, that you guys like didn't have to? Because
I'm a bad singer. So it was like the girl who was my understudy could sing and dance. And so the 2 girls in the cast would often try to sabotage me to get me fired so that the girl could
oh my God.
my spot. They were all really good friends and I was like new.
What drama?
Ask, I was gonna be like, what's the clique situation in this show? Because there has to be some.
When you put a bunch of 17-year-old girls together for the summer who all kind of look alike, like of course there's going to be drama. There's going to be drama no matter what. We're just girls,
and especially if there's like a coveted part too. I'm sure they're like, well, Megan doesn't even do the singing. So like if I get my friend Mallory in there, she's going to sing it and it's going to be so good.
Like Megan doesn't have to sing because she's a bomb-ass dancer is what it turns out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. And at some point, 2 of the boys in the cast started dating each other. And that was my first like introduction to, like I had gay men that I knew growing up, but it was the first time that I actually was really like that close with a gay couple. And I remember coming off stage once and we would have like costume changes and everything, so I would have like a certain amount of time And we had one just dressing room, so boy girl didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing my dance partner on his knees with his face in his boyfriend's crotch, and
in the dressing room.
Yeah, well, like during the show, in the middle of the show, when you have like 90 seconds to change from one sequence to another, when you're dripping sweat because it's 100 degrees and humid, I saw, and I just was like, and then somebody says like, "Oh wait, Megan's back here," and I was like, "Huh?" And I remember thinking that like it took me like I think my day off was the next day, and I was just thinking about what did I see because it didn't even register.
Yeah, like what is happening?
Why were they doing that? Like we were stuck. Like I don't know.
You're like he's giving it a little pull, a little bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just maybe he was like yeah, it was a summer where I learned a lot about stuff that I didn't even think happened.
Sure.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of like pivotal job moments, like there, because I had similar stuff happen. I didn't witness that, but like you were just like, oh, people do this stuff, people say this stuff, I'm gonna figure out some things, like you said, like I didn't know people did or was like, and I feel like teen jobs sort of lend themselves to that discovery.
Yeah.
So you met at the pizza place, you said something about wanting to flirt.
Oh yeah, so it was pretty much like.
Did you have a pizza romance?
I had a lot of pizza crushes. Like you would definitely like, because most of the cooks were men, and a lot of the front of house staff were women. I mean, there were male like waiters and stuff, but when I was working in like carry out, we were all just not old enough to be servers yet, so we were all teenage girls, and you know, restaurants breed degenerate humans. So a lot of the kitchen staff was guys, and so you would like figure out who would be like, who's cute first of all, and like whose station you would just like linger at if there were no orders, or you'd be like, oh, the pasta dish has 5 more minutes, well I'll just wait and chit chat bullshit with you because you're cute. But I don't think, I mean, nothing really like wildly scandalous happens like when I was 16 to 18, which is not to say inappropriate things didn't happen. Like I remember there was a lot of like the pizza guys would pull the boxes back when the teenage girls would lean over to cut them so that they could try to look down our shirts. And like, we didn't understand what sexual harassment was. So we were like, funny. Like, that sort of thing. There was like a gross older male manager who was only hiring hot 16-year-old girls. That was dealt with. But yeah.
Living my dream.
Yeah. That could have all been yours, but instead you were just dancing 36 days a week.
Man, I really miss East Coast pizza.
Yeah.
It's on the East Coast, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I miss it so much.
Yeah.
So did you guys have like, so how many people were in the cast? Like, what is it? Was it like 30 people or like 20?
Oh, it was 3 boys, 3 girls.
Oh, that's
so small.
Yeah.
For that. But we had, our whole department had multiple people. So like we had the Dome show. Then there was, I think UPS is at my door. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys.
All right.
I told you.
We literally talked about how someone was going to get a phone call or a knock during this hour, and of course it happened.
We manifested it.
Yeah, we definitely did. You guys follow your dreams. It's 2020. You can manifest anything.
Follow your dreams, answer your door.
They're in the rain, and I wanted to make sure I didn't leave him that way.
It's awful here today. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So we had 3 boys, 3 girls in the cast, and then there were other shows. So we had a large department. I would say the whole department probably had 30 people, but there was like this one show that was kind of Dracula monster themed thing where they would sing like songs from Rocky Horror Picture Show and Eurythmics, and that
Very
was a
cool
weird
stuff.
one. Yeah, and then we had some people who dressed up as the critters, which were these like generic bear things. So when our show ended for the year before I started working the haunted house for Halloween, I had like 3 weeks where I played Katie Critter, which is awful.
Oh no, yeah.
But my favorite show was the sheriff show. We had this little like old west part of the park, and it was like cute boys improving, which now I would never be attracted to an improver, but it was like cute boys in like Western getups with like fake guns going, oh, and so that show I really enjoyed. That was one I would go to see on my
On your free time?
if I could. Oh yeah. There's actually, so there was one time when we had someone new come. He had auditioned, and then he got the job, so they gave him kind of a tour, and he looked to me like a dark-haired Leonardo DiCaprio.
Which, like, at that time.
Yeah, and he showed up like to his like interview, whatever, with like a little bow tie and a red shirt and suspenders, and he was just so odd. And I was like, oh, that's like I have a crush on, and we are the same age, and you know, the floppy hair. I was really excited, and he was such a great actor and was hysterical in the sheriff show. And then he got fired because he would get a little too into character, and at some point called some kid the little fucker, and the parent the kid was probably a little fucker.
Yeah.
But like the parent complained, and it was maybe like the 5th complaint, so like he got fired.
He was a real bad boy, real improv bad boy.
So, but the wild thing was like, because I spent 3 summers working there, and I think it was maybe a year, 2 summers later, I don't know. This person who, at the time, when I knew him, his name was Josiah. He popped up on MTV's Wanna Be a VJ contest.
Oh, wow.
Jesse Camp.
Shut up!
Wait! Really?
Yes.
That is so funny.
And we were like, wait, that's him, but what's he doing? And we all talked about like, wow, because he was such a great improvisational character actor.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no, he's not this guy. Like this is an act.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of running into him a couple of years ago. He's like friends with some people I know, and I ran into him at someone's birthday party, and I was like, hey, this is crazy, but do you remember? And he did, and so we took a picture together. It was like really
wild.
Yeah, he's doing really well now, and you know, found his way. But
is he still doing like the Jesse Camp character, or is he more like
I mean, he still like dresses. I mean, he's definitely got like a rock star persona. But he does like some really awesome photography, you know, and he still dresses kind of strange.
Yeah.
Like, hey, but it's not as affected as it was the time that he was
I
on.
remember like watching that and being like, there's no way this guy is actually like this. Like, I'm like, he came off as so much smarter than he was acting.
Yeah. No, he was he was going to boarding school. Like he was really, really
So
smart
funny.
and really talented. Yeah. And so it was just kind of crazy to see how that went.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
What a great tale.
Yeah. So did you guys have a lot of like were there a lot of summer romances between all the cast members, or
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had a boyfriend who didn't work at the park. He was also gay, and everybody knew that but me.
Sometimes it takes a minute. It's all right.
Well, I mean, I met him in dance class, so it's like I should have known you know. But like we both loved Madonna, we both loved Janet Jackson and Prince and the color purple. Like
Yeah,
not the
so
book,
you're
but
like,
the
we
color.
have so much
We have so much in common.
Yeah, it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't really other than my crush on Josiah.
Yeah.
That was, you know, brief after stopped when he got fired. I didn't really participate in. Well, actually, year 3, I think I made out with someone drunk in the woods.
Good for you.
Yeah. But yeah, my dance partner met another guy in our show, and they fell in love, and they would have fights a lot, which, you know, was stressful for the cast.
Like
but
during they'd be fighting, like, and then have to go perform together.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was fun and not at all stressful.
Yeah,
for the rest of us.
like angry spinning.
Yeah, and then the show that had the monster singing, those cast members were a little older. They went as old as 25, which was ancient to me at the time.
Yeah.
And so I think some of them had things going on, but they were less obvious about it.
Yeah.
You know, like my castmates were 16 and
very
19
dramatic.
or something. Yeah.
Did you guys party together? Like, did you like when the show was done, where you guys go, like, did you go hang out in the parking lot together or something? Or like, I just picture it like a summer camp, or I picture it like every dance movie I've ever seen.
Right.
Like whole underworld.
We weren't due in until 11, and then I think our first show was like 11:30. So we could sleep in if we got a little hungover, and there was like a handful of us that would all have the same day off, which is on Mondays. So Sunday nights, sometimes we would go out for pizza and then get wasted after, or also if it was raining, the park would often close early and send us home early, which was usually when we would go to someone's parents' basement to hang out, and we would get obliterated, like drunk at like 7 p.m. And probably the funnest time was when one of my castmates had gotten a DVD or something, VHS maybe, I don't know, it was a while ago, of Showgirls, and insisted that we learn the Elizabeth Berkley dance. So we got really wasted on the alcohol was blue. So I don't know, like it was maybe a pre-mixed zombie or something like that, or wine coolers. I remember throwing up blue later. And we learned the dance from Showgirls, the one.
That's like, that doesn't get, like, there's no more, like, doesn't get more dance group than that. You're like, well, then we got trashed and we did this really hard choreographed dance, and we learned that I threw up blue alcohol.
It's also like so like culturally time stamped with like, I threw up blue and we danced to the Elizabeth Berkley Showgirls dance. You're like, I know when that was. Okay, great.
Yeah. I'm still a big Paul Verhoeven fan.
Now with the other, like, did you mainly stick to like the entertainment cast for like Friends and stuff, or did you know the other staff, like concessions people and rides operators?
Were they like ranked? Yeah, I was just gonna say, I picture it being ranked where they're like ride operator, garbage.
We were the stars.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. We did make friends with some of the people who worked at the food windows in the Dome, because sometimes they would give us free stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember at some point like getting off stage and warm, like just freshly fried dough, which is funnel cake, I think, in California, for people listening who were like, what is that? Was like waiting for us at the door, covered in powdered sugar. But then you eat something like that and then you have to go dance a half hour later. It was never a good idea.
No, but it was such a special treat, I'm sure.
Yeah. But at some point, I remember kind of like chatting up someone who worked at one of the games, like where you throw a ball into a thing, and if it wins, you get a prize, but they're rigged, so no one ever got a prize. So I think anyway. But I remember chatting with someone and then being criticized for it. Like he
Like, Megan, we can't talk to him. He works in the games area.
Yeah. So then I just kind of, the next time I saw him, I think he waved at me and I like looked away, because that's what you do when you're a 16-year-old girl, you're a bitch.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So how was it like, because I pictured it being so many more people. So with it only being like 6 people in the show, how was it that the other girls like wanted their friend to be the star? Like, was it hard to, like, were they bullies about it, or were they just kind of like passive aggressive?
One was an outright bully. Well, first of all, some of the people knew each other from outside of the amusement park. Like, they had done like summer theater stuff together or whatever. And a lot of people were, maybe not working, but everybody was pretty professional.
Yeah.
Or had some professional experience. They didn't really bring anybody who this is their first gig. And so the girls knew each other from something else, and so I was the new person. And one of them was really mean about it, and the other was a little bit nicer. And then when the mean one went back to college, she had to leave early to go back to college, then the one who was less mean was nicer to me.
She was like, it's safe to be nice right now.
Yeah. Or I think, the girl who was mean, she was like, sometimes just a survival thing that we do is you just acquiesce to the bully, because it's easier to just, get along with the bully and be the person's laughing at their jokes than to be your own independent, especially when you're that young. When you're that young, you're so full of insecure. I mean, every once in a while you meet a 16-year-old girl who isn't super insecure, but I would say 95% of them we're just trying to figure out who we are and where we fit in.
Yeah. And when that's who there is to be friends with, that's your choice. It's like, do you want one shitty, mean friend or no friends? Like,
And I think sometimes you're just so, with boys and girls, you're so relieved that you're not the one getting picked on, that you're like, I'll just stand next to that and it's fine, because at least it's like facing away from me and not onto me.
Yeah. And I mean, out of the group of us from the show, some of the boys they work in entertainment, but more of like one of them is like went and moved up on to Disney, and I think got in a show there, and then now is like at a managerial position where he's like helping cast and putting together the shows. And another one of them still does a lot of work with cruise ships, and he travels all around the world, but again, like now he's in a more of a coordinated creative director position. But I'm the only one who works still, I guess, and came to Los Angeles and work on stuff. And I mean, it's just being a cat, so I don't have like a family to like worry about or anything like that. I can just be really a selfish artist full time.
I get that. That's nice.
So do you
very
guys,
nice.
like, would you do it every summer so you would know each other for multiple years?
Yeah, a lot of people would come back, and obviously if someone worked with us and they were really great, why wouldn't you want to bring them back? And there would be some people we worked with and it was like they would come to the audition again and not get the job because they were difficult. But
so you had to audition each year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they would make you re-audition. I think it was for the people they wanted to bring back, it was a formality.
Right.
Yeah. But my last summer there, they completely changed the singing and dancing show to something way different. And it was mostly singing and less dancing. So that summer I spent in the critter costume.
Oh, man. I was just going to ask, did you get to be the big star dancer every year, or did you have to like jockey for position?
Yeah, the last year I was in a critter costume. And then I would moonlight sometimes as a magician's assistant. So we had this magician, David, who is really terrific. I would always bug him about his tricks. I wanted to learn how they worked, and your magicians don't tell you that.
Yeah.
So at some point, he got really annoyed with me asking him all the time. So he just like locked me in the trunk and then said, "Find your way out." And
stop it.
really, yeah, it was really hot that day. And so I had to find my way out or I might die in a box. So
Oh my God.
I did. But you know what I did? But honestly, if you're a magician's assistant, you spend a lot of time in small in things like that. So, a spoiler, I guess I'm maybe sharing some secrets. The magician's assistants don't necessarily disappear. So but that's also, he was kind of like, you want to be a magician's assistant? This is what it's like.
Did you think
miserable.
that you wanted to be a magician's assistant, or were you just like...
Oh, I did some shows. Like, he trained me, and then, like, when his assistant couldn't make it, I did a couple of shows.
Like,
I was terrible.
After the box or before the box?
Well, I found my way out, so I proved I could do it. I'm alive.
That's so funny. That's crazy. I want to know how you got out. I feel like now I'm going to end up in a box.
I don't think I can reveal that secret.
I know. I don't know if magician's assistant still falls under the same like code of silence.
Well, I guess one thing I can say about just magic in general, it's like why it works and why card tricks and stuff work is because it's the way things work are often the opposite of what instinctually you would think works. So if you're able to think outside the box and find a different way that something could be done, then you can probably get how to do magic.
Yeah.
Without revealing anything. The swords were terrifying. There was a sword basket where you'd be in and the swords would come through the basket, and that was scary. I cut a hole in my tights by not quite doing
the right thing.
Yeah, listen, it was miserable, and I have curly hair, so I would come out of a thing, and you go like this, and like, and everybody else would have like gorgeous cascade, like shampoo commercial hair, like nothing at all had happened, but I would come out sweaty and just like frazzled. So that was not the career path for me, the magician's assistant.
At least you got to find out early. You got it out of your system.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah. So did you guys so you're there year after year, and then it's kind of like, sounds like a little bit of like summer camp vibes. Did you guys stay in touch when you weren't working the show, or was it like you worked the show and then I'll see you next summer?
It would depend. Like, there was a couple of people who would come from further away, and they would be like put up in a like housing, and so we wouldn't really, and this is kind of pre-social media, so we wouldn't really see them. But some of the other people, I would still see them at dance competitions and other castings and things like that. So we would run into each other.
Did you make any like really close friends working there, or was it mostly like acquaintances?
One of my best friends to this day I met, she was the critter the first year I was there. And then, and her name is Laura. And so we're still really close. She lives in New Hampshire now, with her family. And, she tries to get out here once a year to come visit me. And I try to go back there and visit her. And then most everybody else I've kept in touch with on Facebook. There's one of the boys in my show who wasn't my dance partner. He travels with a cruise line, and he's their creative director, and they'll often have rehearsals in Los Angeles. And when they do, we always try to get dinner or have drinks or something like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And he just got married, which is really exciting.
That's so cool. I
found the love of his life at like 45. I'm like, I'm so stoked for him.
That's great.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I feel like, it just sounds so professional to like to have that like existing in Western Mass and be like, oh yeah, I just did like 36 shows a week. No big deal.
Yeah, it sucked. Even Broadway, it's like, what do they do? They're doing 5 days a week, and they end up doing 6 shows of 2 hours each. So, and that's pretty strenuous. This was unkind, I would say. And there was no reason for there to be 6 shows. Like, we would never have a sold out house.
Show. You're like, this could be 3 shows.
Yeah. I think 4 would have been a pretty good number. 4 times 6. What's 4 times? That would have been 24 shows a week rather than 36. Yeah.
That's so crazy. And then it like sounds like such good money, but then the amount of hours that you're working too, and just like, you can't be like not feeling well at work. Like, I just remember a lot of my like time spent at work in my teen years was hungover, trying not to barf on like whatever I was doing. I could not imagine if I had to like flip around and like be in a little costume. I'm like,
perform.
I'm like, I'm barely managing this hoodie.
Yeah, I think the show was 22 minutes long. So we would get backstage about 10 minutes before, get ready. And then so in between, you know, there's no downtime because you're changing your costumes.
Yeah.
And they were heavy, like polyester and sequins. And it would be, you know, New England in July and August when it's 95 degrees and 85% humidity. Just sweat. It's just the smell. Like, I'm never going to forget those smells.
Yeah.
The shoe where we kept the shoes.
I bet.
It was disgusting.
I can't even imagine.
Did you enjoy the park? Did you do rides and stuff? Or like if your shift was over, you were out of there?
When our shifts were over, we were usually out of there unless there was like every once in a while there would be like a special concert or something. They had a racetrack and they would do concerts there. And I think we went to, because we would get free passes. So we went to a couple of those. And then there was like a couple of times when like, especially at the end of August, they were still open through September, but people would go back to school. So the park would be kind of dead. So sometimes we'd get there a few minutes early and like, they would always test the roller coasters in the morning. So we would go on, which in retrospect, go on the test.
You're like, well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then at some point, I think this is pretty much the end of the line for me. My last summer there, I remember they decided to not have the entertainment department between the end of summer and our haunted house. And so I was loaned out for a few days to the rides department and I had to help run a ride. And I was like, I can't do this ever again. This is my last year. How dare
you get to do the thumbs up?
Is it like a button or is it like a crank? Because I picture like a full-on crank.
So I was not the button pusher. I was the person who made sure that everybody's thing went down.
Which I feel like that would give me anxiety to be like, I'm your last hope.
Yeah. Well, and then people would say it was a roller coaster that went upside down in like a loop and people would be like, I'm not going to die, right? And I'd be like, no. Maybe.
You're like, we'll see.
I don't know. This thing's pretty old.
Is it the Black Widow?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was scary.
It was really scary.
But I feel like that now we're just going to talk about the rides.
Yeah, you're like, now we're on a roller coaster.
The Cyclone was even more terrifying. That one, I felt like your little like lap bar never locked in, and it always bruised me.
Well, it was also one of the oldest coasters that was still operational, which just, you know, that's cool, I guess. But is that what you want to put your
That's right.
Your body on?
It's like a strong flex on your brag. It's like, this coaster that we still trust people's lives on is 150 years old. And you're like, all right, well, maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's just time to upgrade, you know?
Yeah. You're like, we wouldn't trust a house to be that old. But here we are whipping you around.
That's right. That's right. Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you did the haunted house, you said?
Yeah, there would be a haunted house that we would do. And there was like a hayride part or something, but I was usually in the house.
So that was actually like working in a haunted house was like a dream job that I had growing up. And one of my friends ended up owning a company that does haunted houses. And he was like, he let myself and another friend just like be in the haunted house for one night. And I lost my voice because I would like scream at people, but I had the time of my life. And I also like, I had no idea there was like this culture, like this haunted house culture of like professional actors who were like, well, my storyline as like the ghost in the corner is that my husband left me and I'm searching for him. And you'd be like, but really like the people running through have no idea. Like they're just like, you're like, whoa, but really what I'm saying with my is that I feel deep sadness. And like these people like I just had no idea that so many people like really took it as like, this is my acting job for this, you know, these 3-4 weeks. And they were so serious about it. And it was like the greatest thing. It's just so
Well, when you think about too, if you went to school for theater, that's a degree that maybe you don't necessarily get to. So when you get a chance to, like, listen, me as an actor, I've done so many commercials, and it's just like it's like you get paid a decent amount of money to be like, huh, or oh, or whatever. So like, I'm like, it's a coping mechanism to be like, well, if I make up this backstory, then it's all means something, and then I'm not just crazy.
Yeah.
I was doing background work maybe a month and a half ago, and I was just like an in-office worker. And I think maybe the back of my head will be seen if it gets left in. But I did get the note that I was typing too loud. It's like, okay, well, this is how I type as an office worker. Thank you for the note. I'll type softer.
I won't type so aggressively.
I'll quiet it down.
You're like, I'm typing because I'm pissed. I'm not facing front.
I'm like, okay, but in my story, I'm tersely wording an email to someone who's missed a deadline.
Yeah. Did you say that? Did you explain? No. Well, this is what my character's doing.
I would love it if you did.
I was like, got it. Quieter typing.
You're like,
give me a less
there's
fun
a reason.
keyboard.
Before I was doing acting full time, I worked as a music video producer, and I did a lot of casting just because often we couldn't afford our separate casting directors. So it was cheaper for me to do both. So I remember once casting this commercial it was like a Nintendo video game, and it was a tennis game where like, I don't know, you play tennis or something. And so the spot was basically that this kid is supposed to be playing it in his living room, and then he hits something, and then this thing flies out of the TV screen and takes his whole room, which is like pretty much just white and gray, and turns it brightly colored. So the whole thing is like, oh, this game, it changes how you see the world. This game. And this kid came in, and he had a really good look about it. He knew like how he looked my clients would love. And he does the swinging of this thing, and he's going wrong. And he's like chomping on something, and he's like really mad. And then the thing comes out, and you're supposed to look around and go, whoa. And he went, whoa. and I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's green, maybe he's new. And and I say, so are you chewing gum? Because it looked like he was chomping on something. He's like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm like, oh, well, it looked like maybe you're like chewing on gum or something. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, that was my choice. And I said, okay, well, this character, he's not chewing any gum. But that was my choice.
Well, I want that confidence.
Oh, he doubled back. That was his okay.
And I'm like, I'm the person who's in charge of hiring you. I'm the what? And so I was like, okay, well, he's not chewing gum. He gets this job. Well, that's not going to happen. And I said, and also, like, it's a commercial. Like, you're excited about it. So when it comes out, there's nothing negative. Yeah. It's exciting. You're happy. You're enjoying this moment. And there's no gum. And he was like, yeah, okay, fine. And then he tried to like explain to me, well, I was thinking blah 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 blah. And I'm not your theater professor, bro. Yeah. And I just nodded, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to get through to him. And so then I let him do the take again, and then it was like weird. It was almost like he was trying to channel Christopher Walken, but badly.
Oh no.
Whoa. It was like, no.
If you hate me, just leave.
Yeah. So I did not get the job.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
And it's funny because I kept his, like, because I have, when I have a file of just like things that were really weird, or sometimes there would be people who did something on set where the client was like, never hire this person again. Like someone stole something, like we would never hire them again. Yeah. So I did, and I would often check up on people from that list and just see, did they ever? Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, was it just me that thought they were weird? And you're like, no.
Yeah. A disproportionate amount of some of the people who I don't want to say were unfit to work in the entertainment industry because that might be unfair, but a lot of the people who didn't quite get the hang of it went into real estate.
Well, that is like acting, I guess, because you're acting like you like the properties.
Or it's a sale. I mean, being an actor, you're a salesman.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is my product. You know, with a real estate, you're selling houses. So,
Yeah.
you know, it just maybe the house is a better product than
Yourself.
Your acting talents.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
It could
Or
be.
your look, or I don't know, your outfit that day.
The house has been staged.
Yeah. We couldn't quite stage the property, or we couldn't quite stage your personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's very funny.
Yeah.
It's
So
my
Riverside. Did you guys go? So you guys went to Riverside?
I did.
Yeah, you
I grew
went to
up
it when
in-
it was Riverside,
When
right?
it was Riverside. I grew up in like central Connecticut. So Riverside was half an hour away. So I spent many summers there.
I grew
You
up in
probably
Enfield.
saw.
Oh,
okay.
perfect. I'm certain we know some of the same people.
I'm so sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Laura's like, I
grew
was
up
the
in East
mean
Hartford.
girl in the dance.
No. That's fun. That's fun and exciting. Katie lives there now,
Yeah.
but grew up in upstate New York.
Yeah. So when I moved to that area, it was already Six Flags, but people will not shut up about Riverside.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Whalers, like people won't let it go. And it's like, I think at some point you have to let it go.
Okay, Laura, I'm going to say that I
Okay.
think Mountain Park was the better amusement park. Do you remember Mountain Park?
Mountain Park?
That existed like when like I think it was maybe gone by the time I got the Riverside Gate, but Mountain Park was a superior amusement park. It was a lot cleaner. It was a lot nicer. It was like the Disneyland of park.
Where was it?
It was I want to say it was in Western Mass. It was a little further away, a little further out than Riverside, but my parents used to take me there more often. And then it closed. But that was a superior
on Mount Tom, I think, or something. I think
around there, yeah. That
It
makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I went to Mount Tom on like a camp field trip once, but Mountain Park I don't remember. I know there was Lake Compounds, which I think there still is, and they still love to brag about their old roller coasters. And all I remember about them was they had free soda, but they was just like swarmed with bees, and it was like, this is bad. This is a bad thing that you're offering people. And then there was like Quasi, which was too far out, and I never went to.
But Katie, Catskill Game Farm, was that
best commercial? Love that.
I don't
jingle.
know. Is that in New York? That's probably in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that would be further south of us. That would be south of me. But I wish it would be closer because I would love to go there. Love to hit up a game farm.
That was pretty fun, Catskill Game Farm. And then Lake George, too, is that?
Yeah.
Lake George had an amusement park of sorts, and there used to be this giant pumpkin you could ride in and sit with Cinderella.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Lake George was like poor man's, like the Cape. Like, you know how everybody in New England would go to the Cape? In upstate New York, we'd be like, are you going to Lake George this summer? Which we thought it was fancy, but we didn't understand that it was not going to the ocean.
You got the lake.
We're really living. Yeah.
I think Lake George, we went when I was like, there are pictures from, I think I was probably 2 or 3, and it was the vacation that was summer vacation. So they packed summer clothes and we got up there and it was freezing, and they had to like buy us all new pants and sweatshirts and stuff because they packed shorts and it was like 40 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember it. I've just been told.
I remember we went camping. My parents took us camping at Lake George.
Yeah, that's a big, like, it's a big go camping, or you could like rent a cabin, or they'd have like fancy condos that you could like own a timeshare in. So if you were like really living, your parents owned a timeshare in these condos. And I remember thinking like it was so fancy. And then I like got to Lake George and I was like, oh, this is what everyone's talking about. I've been pining away for this place. It's just trees.
I remember there being one strip that had a little bit of a nightlife.
Yes, there's like a tiny little strip around like the bottom of the lake that is like so cool, probably if you're young.
Yeah. And if you've never been
If you've never been
outside
in
of to anywhere else. Yeah.
Yes. Pretty hopping place. So
Yeah.
Megan, where can people find you?
On social media, for both my Twitter and my Facebook, I'm at the Megan Duffy, MEGANDUFFY, only because I have a friend whose name is also Megan Duffy, and she beat me to both of them. And Instagram. On Instagram,
Megan Duffy, quick on the draw.
She is, yeah. She lives in New York, and I love her, but she does beat me to all the cool social media handles. And on Instagram, I go by I'm a teacup human, like a teacup poodle, but a person because I'm short. And that's IMATEACUPHUMAN. Yeah, that's how you spell it.
I like it. Good spelling. And we'll put all of those up in the show notes, guys. So please follow Megan. And as always, if you could like, subscribe, and review Pinky Promise so we can read it out loud and love it, we would really appreciate that. And
yeah, we love when you tell us that you love it, and we'd just like to read about it too.
Yeah. Please give us something to read.
Daily affirmations.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. We just would like to have something to hang on the mirror.
Print it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Or together
Hug
all
it.
the nice things people have said.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're looking for, guys. So just give us that like, review, all that fun stuff, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think I'm gonna go order a pizza now.
Yeah, that's the move.